My guest today is a candidate for governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Brian Shortsleeve, welcome back to normal.
Great to be here, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you on. I really appreciate you coming on. It's I'm trying to get all the candidates on the show, and you are among them, and I'll say this right up front. I was telling you off the air. I'll tell everybody I'm neutral in this. I am here to help everybody and the eventual nominee. And, you know, if it's you, great. We're going to, work together. We're going to beat Maura Healey. So I am neutral to the audience. I am neutral and we'll take it from there. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to go back in time and we're going to play a little clip for
those of you.
Let's see here. Here we go. Because I want to get your reaction to this.
Who are watching TV at night, dismayed by what's going on. I understand that dismay. I understand the concern.
When we see riots erupt against ICE in Los Angeles, California, we remember Maura Healey's past cheerleading of this type of response.
America's burning, but that's how forests grow.
An oldie but a goodie. And I play that because I think that's the real person right there. I think we get the smiling one at press conferences. I think we get the deflection of Trump all the time because she doesn't know what she's doing. And we need somebody serious to take back the corner office. And she honestly believes that the destruction and the death that occurred, 5 years ago in those riots was worth it because that's how forests grow. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, look, I'll tell you why she's running against Donald Trump, Jeff, because she cannot run on her own record. I mean, Maura Healey's record in Massachusetts is a record of complete and total failure. We were the fastest growing state in the entire Northeast between 2010 and 20. I'm a business guy. I've spent my life building companies. I'm an entrepreneur. Look at Massachusetts today. We're 50th out of 50 in private sector job growth in the whole country. We are dead last. And it's a result of her policies. This is I'm looking at the screen, this is the Attorney General that killed 2 natural gas pipelines that if they were in place today would be saving working families in this state thousands of dollars. This is the Attorney General who ran on the largest tax hike in state history, which was the income surtax in 2023, which increased our marginal tax rates in this state by 80%. Even this year alone, all she's done is peddle new taxes, right? We heard about a proposal for a prescription drug tax. We heard about a proposal to tax charities by adding the charitable deduction. In the last month, Maura Healey's out pitching the Municipal Empowerment Act.
So let's get into that for a second. So for those who don't know but watch the show, some people are very heavy into the political insiders. Prop 2.5. Prop 2.5 exists in the Commonwealth, and it's basically a check on your property taxes across the state. And when you have somebody the towns would probably go crazy and wild and raise everybody's property taxes if they could. Some towns are better than others, but Proposition 2.5 keeps that in check. So tell the audience. Let's elaborate on that. What she wants to do that enables these towns to essentially jack up.
Well, look, Proposition 2.5. Let's start there. That exists to protect working families and protect taxpayers from continued overspending. The Municipal Empowerment Act, which I mentioned, by the way, that one ought to be called the Watch Your Wallet Act. What a name!
There's another one too it's coming through the State House, and I want to have some of the state reps or senators on about it. Was it's called it's Orwellian. The Driving Freedom Act, and they want to track the miles that you do.
Well, what they want to do is they want to tax the miles you drive. Is what they want to do. They want to charge you per mile.
But also limit it. They want to limit the number of miles you drive. But the inverse thing back to
the Municipal Empowerment Act. Yeah. What a beautiful name. But as I said, it ought to be called the Watch Your Wallet Act, because that bill that Healey's pushing and Driscoll's pushing, that bill would enable cities and towns to triple your auto excise tax. Yeah. Triple, 300% increase. You know what a new car costs in Massachusetts today?
I'm shopping for a used car because I can't afford a new car. So,
what's your guess on the median?
For a new car?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So there's some interesting things behind this. We have that 2030 mandate, right, of something. You probably know better than me the electrical proportion, but I'm going to guess like probably $40,000.
So it's a little higher. It's
Really?
actually $50,000 is the average price of a new car in Massachusetts today.
Wow.
So you buy that car, $50,000. The sales tax is 6.25. So to take it off the lot, there's your first $3,000. And then about 6 weeks later, you and I both get the most hated of the taxes, which is that little notice from your local municipality saying, by the way, that new car you just bought, you owe us another $1,200. Okay,
Yeah.
That's the excise tax. That's 2.5%. Under the Municipal Empowerment Act, that could triple to 7.5%. I mean, you would be paying potentially $6,000 or $7,000 in excise tax on that vehicle.
What's the drive? What's the excuse, or I'll say that they're running behind it to jack these up? I mean, there's no budget shortfall, right?
Here's the deal. It's pretty simple. Maura Healey is pushing costs down onto cities and towns. If we go back in time a little bit, there's been enormous growth in state spending in the last 3 years. Under Maura Healey, our state budget has grown by $12 billion over 3 years. It was a $52 billion budget when she came in, and last year she finished at about 64. That's enormous growth. But you know what's happened to unrestricted local aid during that period? Basically flat. Unrestricted local aid is about $1 billion out of the budget. That's what goes to cities and towns. You live in Woburn. I grew up in Belmont, which is right next door to where you and I are sitting right now.
Yep.
Unrestricted local aid goes to cities and towns to help fund the fire department, the police department. That unrestricted local aid should be growing much more quickly than it is, but it's been flat.
So what's the $12 billion been going for? I mean, look, the headlines we know, at least $1 billion on the immigrant crisis that came in, the illegal aliens. But I mean, there's still a gap there. What are we talking about? Just the size, scope, and scale of the bureaucracy? I mean,
it's enormous hiring, of people. It's $1.2 billion to $1.5 billion in additional state payroll. It's enormous spending on the migrant shelter program. It's mass health, which ran over budget last year by $2 billion. Everywhere you look in this budget, you see expenses, spending growing way too quickly. I'll tell you this. I mean, this state does not have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. And the spending in the state's been stunning. I mean, in the last 6 years, our state budget's grown by 50%, 50.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yep.
Our population's not growing that way. In fact, our tax-paying population's getting smaller, not bigger. But under Maura Healey, you've just seen this enormous growth of state spending.
And I think when people hear that, and we got to be driving this home for, we're at the beginning of 2026. We got a whole year to hammer this home to people. I don't think anybody in Massachusetts thinks they've gotten 50% more better value out of their state government. I mean, right, it's gone over the past 6 years. It's insane.
Are the roads any better?
No, the roads are worse.
Are the schools any better? The answer is no.
The test scores keep dropping. Yeah. We have ballot initiatives pushed by teachers' unions to get rid of MCAS and accountability for the kids' scores, which I'm personally opposed to. Maybe we can get into that in a second. But it just seems that every step of the way, there's this overwhelming government first and government supremacy idea where just more bureaucracy, more committees, more offices, and they don't do anything. They don't provide anything. And plus, I think my gut tells me, the fraud that we heard about over in Boston about the SNAP benefits, I think that's the tip of the iceberg. I think there's a lot of stuff's going to start coming out. I think this stuff in Minnesota is just going to pull the curtain back, and we're really going to start to get into it. We shall see, hopefully. But let's get into some of your solutions for what you would cut back or how you would scale back to maybe even back to 4 years ago or something like that for where we can get and maybe cut taxes based on that.
Well, look, what we got to start with, right, is we've got to get this state moving and growing again. We are now 50th out of 50 in the country in private sector job growth. Why does that matter? It matters because robust private sector job growth means opportunity. That means young people who can find jobs and can stay here. I was over at BU meeting with some really talented students about 2 months ago, and a whole bunch of them, they're graduating from BU with great finance degrees. They'd all love to stay in Boston. You know what they told me? A lot of the job opportunities I'm getting aren't here.
Yeah.
They're in Dallas, Texas, and they're in Charlotte, and they're in Miami. So number one Private sector job growth matters because if you're growing your private sector, it means you're a good place to live. You're a good place to be. There's going to be opportunities for young people. So you got to start.
What are some of the things? What are some of the things we can do?
Number one, day one, when I am governor, strip all those state mandated fees out of your electricity bill. Mm-hmm. When I talk with small business owners, in fact, I was with one today who runs a recycling facility. $100,000 a year is the electricity bill to run that facility. That's 30 to 40% more than his competitors pay in the states they operate in. When I meet working families and I talk with them about why they're struggling here in Massachusetts, the first thing they tell me is what they are paying in utilities. And here's the deal. When you look, by the way, I have my utility bill. I'm happy to go through it with you anytime if you'd like to, but I bring it with me everywhere I go because working families ask about it. They always say the same thing. They look at this bill. It's $400.
Yeah, I'm getting screwed.
Yeah,
no, it's out of control.
And you know what? You look at this bill, $400. 2/3 of it is not the cost of power. Okay, that's about a third of it. Another third of it are 6 state mandated fees: the renewable energy fee, the solar fee, the energy efficiency fee. Then when you look inside the distribution line item on this bill, there's another set of state fees around solar contract adjustments, solar expansion, attorney general consulting fees. What has happened in this state? There's 12 of them, by the way. I won't read through every one of them.
It's just the attorney general consulting.
Attorney general consulting fees.
I like that because Andrea Campbell her office needs to get that money.
And the final one on the list, by the way, is the customer charge. Yeah. For the pleasure of being overcharged, but here's the deal. Yeah. If you stripped those fees out, that's a big step to making the state more affordable. Number one, day one. All right,
you're more informed on this than I am. I'm not running for governor. Can the governor have the authority to do that on day one, or do you have to go through the legislature?
At 9 o'clock in the morning of day one, I would do it.
Okay.
The governor controls the Department of Public Utilities.
Okay.
Those are gubernatorial appointments. Maura Healey could call them tomorrow.
Right.
Tell them to strip these fees out. In fact, Jeff, there's a bill pending in her own legislature. Mark Cusick, the Democratic head of the Energy Committee, has a bill in front of her that would start the process of rolling back Mass Save, stripping fees off your bill, turning all those net zero 2030 and 2050 mandates into advisory opinions. Those are the right set of ideas. And that's the Democrat legislature. That's not me speaking. Those are the right ideas, but we got to be big. We got to be bold. Maura Healey won't touch it.
You brought up this is a theme, and it's something that I think we can hammer home for the entire year. Is that, and I'll play some clips of this because she's lying up and down. She can act right now,
absolutely,
but she's not. And so, what does that tell you? It informs the first clip I played. It's like, who's the real person here? The politician is going to lie and BS you to get you to vote for, and then do nothing about it. Or the one on the screen who thinks that burning things down makes the forests grow, right? So this is where there's other examples we can get into.
But with Healey, you got to look at what she does, not what she says. Look, I am a Marine. Okay, exactly. Marines are taught from an early age as leaders a bias for action. Be bold, be decisive, take action. That is leadership in the Marine Corps. It's leadership in government. It's leadership in business. Maura Healey could strip all those fees out tomorrow. She won't do it. You know what her proposal is to our crisis in high utility bills? Another commission. So she's now appointed the third commission to study why your utility bill has gone up by 40% over the last 3 years, even though the cost of natural gas has declined. And I got some news for the governor. We don't need a new commission.
No.
We need a new governor. We need new policies. We need to take action. She won't do it.
Yeah. On that note, I want to play this clip. Let me get to this. So this is one that always cracks me up. Where so this is Governor Healey on GBH Radio, which might as well be like this. So this is a Republican podcast. I'll have on Democrats and debate them, but I'm here. We're here to get Republicans elected, and we're very open about it as far as that goes. These people, GBH pretends to because they're covering for her, but this is a clip that she put out. And this is the audacity that we're getting to. So I want to get your reaction to this. So,
I mean, literally, he's killing power. He wants to shut down a project that right now, today, is providing power to homes and businesses in Massachusetts and the region. It makes no sense.
She's talking about the wind farms. Now, what she's not going to mention, I'll let the rest of the clip play out.
People are already paying too much in their electricity bills. I've filed energy affordability legislation that I hope to get passed that'll save ratepayers, us, $13 billion. Now,
It's just, you have to laugh, Brian, or you're going to cry. She's filed legislation, and this was, over a month, 2 or 3 weeks ago that she did this, right? She's filed legislation. Ooh, bravo. And she's not taking the action she can take immediately.
And she also killed 2 natural gas pipelines. She was very proud of that in 2016 and 17. There's a lot of nice clips. And then about a month and a half ago, she said actually didn't kill the pipelines. And then Mass Fiscal and some others reran the old tapes. And she said, actually, I did kill the pipeline because it was a bad deal for consumers. I'll tell you what's a bad deal for consumers, paying $400 a month in an electricity bill in which 2/3 of it is state-mandated fees. So with Healey, she could take action today. She won't do it. When I'm governor, day one, we strip the fees out. We'll also, day one, we'll call the head of Williams Company, who's ready to build the Constitution pipeline. We'll call the White House, and we'll tell them we're ready to go. Right. It's a 120-mile pipeline that would sink Massachusetts in with the Marcellus Shale. If you look at a map, the cheapest natural gas in the entire world is in the Marcellus Shale. It's a couple 100 miles from here. With that pipeline in place, you're pulling down the cheapest natural gas in the world. As a result of her policies, as a result of her killing those pipelines, you know what we do all winter here in Massachusetts? We import liquefied natural gas at the Everett terminal.
My house runs on it.
And it's extraordinarily expensive. Yeah. So there's a lot a governor can do, and there's a lot a governor can do day one. And when I am governor, day one, strip the fees out, day one, get the pipeline rolling, and that'll get us back on a path to affordability around energy.
I think that's a good start. What do you think about, because I've just, I read these articles and the demand for electricity obviously is going to increase. We have data centers, right? People want to put the data centers, all over the country. They're talking about putting them in space. So that's a new business that we can get into. We used to have a very vibrant tech sector in Massachusetts. That's going away because of Healey and the climate that she's doing. But we do need power. Just out of curiosity, what do you think about like the new nuclear technology and putting something in like maybe the old Pilgrim plant or something like that to just add to the infrastructure? Do you think it's worth it?
We've got to lean into nuclear. Yeah. I mean, the leading company in modular nuclear, Commonwealth Fusion.
Modular nuclear.
Modular nuclear. Yeah. I mean, that's amazing technology. By the way, I'm a Marine. I spent a lot of time on ships in the Navy. Those Navy aircraft carriers
have been
running on nuke for a long time, and they've never had a single accident in 70 years of the nuclear Navy. And the leading companies right here in Massachusetts. Yeah. So we need to be leaning into modular nuclear. We should be certainly looking at anything we could do at Pilgrim. But let's never forget in Massachusetts, when it comes to your electricity that you consume, that is going to be 50 to 70% natural gas powered. I mean, we've got renewables, you've got some nuclear, but it really is in this state, natural gas heating is similar. So we should do nuclear. We will do nuclear. But the most important imperative, when you look at where most of our heat and electricity comes from, is we need access to all that cheap natural gas that's a couple 100 miles west of us. Yeah. And that is something a governor can do. Maura Healey could do it. She won't do it. She won't lead on it. Her most recent line of argument, I think, is, well, I'm open to all of the above. That's not leadership. So, leadership means call Williams Company, call the White House, tell them we're building the pipeline, and get going. I would do that day one.
This sometimes puzzles me. I mean it in this. She's making tactically bad decisions day in and day out. This one, we just played it. We're discussing it, and yet she won't do what would save ratepayers money, improve the lives of the citizens in Massachusetts. I mean, I can speculate why, but I mean, why? What's behind that? It's an election year. I think she wants to get reelected, right? I mean, what?
It's about
what is that mindset?
It's about leadership. Yeah. Leaders act boldly. They take decisive action to solve problems. I did it in the Marine Corps. I did it in business. By the way, I'm the only one in this race who ever stepped in to a public agency, in my case, the MBTA, which was in crisis. And I can't tell you how bad that place was sitting in 2015, what a complete mess it was. And we went in there, and over the course of 2 years, we did a set of hard-hitting audits. We identified opportunities to save cost. We took money out. We stripped out waste. We stripped out abuse and things like overtime. We put people in jail if they broke the law, and we fired them if they didn't follow the rules. And we got a lot done very quickly. But that is bold leadership. That is a leader solving a problem. Maura Healey doesn't do that.
No.
You know, whether it's the Utility Commission or the other recent one that I followed closely was the Competitiveness Commission she put together, because we're now 50th out of 50 in private sector job growth. And when that came out, rather than addressing the core issues there, which is energy, its fees, its taxes, rather than addressing those things, you know, Maura Healey anointed a new commission to study why Massachusetts has lost its competitive edge. We don't need a new commission. We need new policies.
So the running theme, and I think you're right, is going to be affordability for this race. And it's you met with the BU seniors, right? They're going on to jobs and they're going to elsewhere. You go to Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas. They can rent an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment for $1,000 or $1,200. The rents around here for a tiny studio, kind of anywhere in eastern Massachusetts, if you're close to the cities, like over $2,500. You know, forget about Boston. It's, you know, you're getting closer to $3,000. We need more housing stock. We need a lot of things to happen. So it's kind of a 2-part question here. What can you do to light a fire under that, to get that going? Because that's, you know, there's a 2-part. Yes, utilities, right? But if they don't stay here to begin with because they can't afford to buy a house, or a young family starting out, right? What do they do? They're thinking about moving if they don't have roots here. So my second part, hopefully I'll remember for the second part, but what would you do to get address the cost of housing?
Well, look, I have a plan to build 80,000 units quickly in and around Metro Boston. Here's the way you do it. There's over 100,000 acres of vacant state-owned land in and around Metro Boston.
Really?
100,000 acres. If you looked at 5,000 of those acres at 15 units per acre multifamily, you could probably do 75 to 80,000 acres. And that's all state land. It's all over the place. I mean, when I was running the MBTA...
What do they do? Wait, tell me, what are they doing with it?
Nothing. It's the brownfield areas you see. When I got to the MBTA, we had not thousands, but we had hundreds of acres of vacant state land up and down the Red Line in Quincy. We repurposed it. We worked with developers. We brought them in. We owned the land so we could get it done. So what the state needs to be doing with all that vacant state land is very quickly repurposing it to build housing.
Sorry, maybe I'm not familiar with the terminology. You said brownfield. Is that like a what is that?
It could be an old state building that's not being used. It
Okay.
could be a plot with some environmental issues. It could be oddball lots like we had on the T right next to a Red Line track. Who wants to live there? But you got to be creative. I mean, when Charlie Baker was governor, we had a back to business or open for business session where we looked to all the vacant land that was around the T. We brought developers in. We had a big open house. People looked at it, and we really leaned in to developing. Here's the benefit of that.
There were units that got built from that.
Thousands. We built thousands of units up and down the Red Line. By the way, that is not the MBTA Communities Act. The MBTA Communities Act is a bill that I oppose. I'm the only one who's called for a full repeal. The MBTA Communities Act is an unfunded mandate. It's administrative overreach. That is an act which tells small suburban, or in some cases rural communities that may not have the infrastructure to support multifamily that they need to build it. What I did when I was at the T, up and down the Red Line, that's Quincy. They'll take all the housing you can give them. They're thrilled to have it. So when you look at the map and you look at all that state land, that's where you have to start. But here's the second thing you got to do. You got to get real about the building code and the permitting process. Because when you talk to developers in Boston about why they're not building, they will tell you a couple things. They will tell you, number one, the new net zero stretch energy code that Wu and Healey have put in Boston has increased the cost to build.
Okay, so this is you're getting into sort of part two of my question. Okay, and we'll get into the perhaps we'll call it the deregulation things we can hit, but and it sounds like you have ideas on how we can do that. But there's going to be there's going to be call it the big elephant in the room, and that's Michelle Wu. She just got inaugurated. She's getting inaugurated soon, but she just won re-election without really an opponent. And it's very, very, very clear what her feeling towards business and development is, and building and true progress in the city of Boston. It's going to be a challenge for you when you're governor. So, and I can honestly say, like, if I'm given and this is like a horrible choice here, but like Healey or Wu, I would take Healey over Wu, because Wu, I think, is an ideologue and just does not care what happens to the city.
Well,
you're gonna have to deal with that. So
look at what's happening to the city. I mean, in the last 3 years, new building permits are down by 70%. I mean, they will build less residential housing in Boston this year than they have in 15 years. That is a result of Wu's policy. It's a result of the stretch net zero energy code that makes it too expensive to build. It's a result of all those affordability requirements. When Wu came in and layered up on more requirements, all that does is make things more expensive, makes it harder to build. And the result is a huge drop in new housing production at a time when we've got to be expanding new housing production.
Do you work around her? Or
look, I can work with anybody. I'm a businessman. I am confident that I can get the job done. When I was at the T,
look, I believe you. I believe you. I just don't think she wants to work with anybody. Like, I honestly think it's just like there are distinctions between Wu and Healey. I mean, Healey doesn't know what she's doing, and is dedicated to, I think, kind of a hackorama type of bad policy. But I think Wu would see fit to just let the city crumble.
And look at the results. Yeah. I mean, building permits down 70%. You know what's way up? City spending.
Right, her budget's gone up 13%. Yeah.
Michelle Wu has added $500 million of spending in the city of Boston budget over the course of 3 years. $500 million. And again, we do not have a revenue problem in this state. We have a spending problem. And to fund that enormous growth of city government, Michelle Wu raised taxes 20% last year and 13% this year. So if you're a homeowner in the city of Boston, you're trying to make this city work, you've got a young family, you are staring at a 33% increase in your property tax bill. To fund what? To fund a citywide spending spree.
I mean, I don't want to press it because obviously, there's a lot of factors at play, but I would certainly hope that this is what I've said to my pitch to the voters of Massachusetts, is that we need a Republican governor. And if it's you, we need that as a counterweight, right, to her bad policies. So you can look, if it's not going to happen in Boston, it can happen in other areas of the state.
And Massachusetts works better with balance.
Yeah.
This is a state that's always done well with a business-oriented Republican in the corner office. Have two teams on the field. Look, I've spent my life in the private sector building businesses. The benefit of having a business background is you know how to balance a budget. You know how to take out cost. You know how to attract customers. You understand that businesses have to control their spending and they have to match up spending and revenue. That's the benefit of having a Republican in the corner office. And I think there's a reason that 5 of our last 7 governors are Republicans. And I think it's because in this state, particularly with independent voters, I think independent voters are looking for some balance. They're looking for leadership. And they want someone that's going to step in with a business background and a plan to very quickly make progress on the things you and I are talking about.
Yeah. One more clip.
Sure.
I want to get to this because I saw this the other day. Let's do this. Oh, no, that's not it. This is it. Okay. All right. So this is Maura Healey. She came out with this around Christmas time, but it's 12 gifts. She's given gifts, by the way, to the Commonwealth. This is her new corny pitch that doesn't land with anybody. But I want to get how you're gonna when you win the primary, how you're gonna take this on, because this is gonna be real challenging because she's straight up lying.
A big priority for us this year was and is bringing down your energy costs. We came up with a plan to save people and businesses $6 billion on their energy bills. I also filed legislation to take charges off your bill and make it easier for us to bring more energy into our state. That'll mean $13 billion in savings alone. Speaking of cutting costs, let's talk about housing. I banned broker fees for renters, and we're using every tool in our toolbox to build new homes. We built
just lie after lie after lie. I mean, every tool in her toolbox, no. Bringing down the costs, No.
I'll tell you what she brought us for
yeah.
Christmas is the 12 fees of Christmas, which
Yeah.
are the 12 fees I just went through in this bill.
Yeah.
The reality is, you look at the video, she says she's making progress in energy. Our energy costs are going up, not down. These numbers are going up, not down. She talks about housing. This year, housing starts in Metro Boston will be lower than they've been in more than a decade. We're down 70%, and a lot of it are things the governor could control. It's permitting. It's the building code. Those are things she could control. I don't think the voters of Massachusetts buy it. I mean, when I'm out there, and I did over 100 public events last year, I'm meeting with folks across the spectrum. These are not just Republicans. These are independents who are completely, who feel abandoned. I mean, they're Democrats who are fed up. When you ask me how are people feeling in their pocketbooks in their homes, they're feeling stretched. They're feeling stretched because of energy bills. They're feeling stretched because of property tax. They look up at Beacon Hill and they just see this enormous growth of state spending with very little getting back to their communities.
Yeah. I think it's troubling because we're in this weird space where the press won't call her out, right? She goes on this but the public sort of seems to just absorb it and know it, right? I think they're feeling like you're out there talking to people.
I'm out there every day,
right?
And you know what? Don't believe me. Ask U-Haul, because U-Haul just ran the U-Haul Growth Index, which they do every year this week, and it came out, and it's the bottom 5 on that list. It's the one-way outbound test, and so the bottom 5 states are the states as a percentage of total trips with the most one-way outbounds, i.e., I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. And guess where Massachusetts is? Right there in that top 5. So people are voting with their feet. Businesses are voting with their feet. We haven't added a single private sector job in 3 years. There's a reason for that. When you see us at the top of the U-Haul one-way outbound list, when you see us at the bottom of the list in terms of jobs, and you see us with the most expensive electricity in the whole continental U.S. other than California, people are feeling that. They're seeing it.
It's funny because you think, oh, well, people will just leave and they're going to go to Florida. They're going to go to South Carolina. It's like most of them go to New Hampshire. So, the people that are leaving, it's some, they'll go south, but they're just going right over the border because of that tells you it's not January and February where it's
the business climate.
Exactly.
It's not the cold weather.
Exactly.
But here's what's happening in this state. We have to think about what is the value proposition of Massachusetts to high octane entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals. We have the most educated workforce in the country. We have the most knowledge workers in the country. You know what that means? That group of people generally can work and live anywhere. Most of the young companies we invest in, I do software, technology, great little businesses, 20, 25 employees are trying to get to 100. We partner with them, we help them. Those companies are generally remote first. What remote first means is you can work anywhere. We're just going to hire the best people. And as a company, we'll get together once a month for a few days, maybe once a quarter for a week. But you want to live in North Carolina? Live in North Carolina. You want to live in New Hampshire? Live in New Hampshire. You want to live in Massachusetts and pay 9% marginal tax rate on your equity package and pay the highest electricity bills in the country and the highest property tax bills? Feel free.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. In the world we live in now, where people can live and work anywhere, and much of the hiring by companies is remote, the positions are remote, we got to sharpen our pitch on the value proposition. Because right now, if you ask me what is the value proposition for a successful entrepreneur or a business owner who's thinking about where to scale and where to grow, we're in the wrong part of the quadrant. Taxes are too high, energy bills are too high, we're overregulated. And many of those people can operate anywhere, and as we see in the numbers, they are finding ways to either move, or when they don't move, what you'll often tell you is, I opened a second facility or a third facility in other places. So a lot of companies are redistributing and they're growing in other places.
And you can do that now with technology, and the world's a lot smaller than it once was.
And that's the reason why when you go down to the financial district in Boston, 30% vacancy.
Yeah.
I mean, we still in Boston have vacancy levels that are the highest in the country. We have the lowest number of people that are back at work of any larger metro. We're still 30% where we were in terms of back to work, but that's because the nature of small companies, of knowledge workers, there's tremendous flexibility.
So dovetailing into that a little bit, so the one subject that, you have a family.
I do.
I saw, you have 3 kids.
I do, yeah. I grew up
Okay.
in Belmont, so I'm a local guy. I'm pointing because we're right next to Belmont. I went to the Cherry Middle School, and I got 3 teenage boys.
Okay.
Great guys, 13, 15, and 16. I want those boys to be in this state in 20
Right.
years. I want them to come back after college and raise their families here.
One of the things that has come back, and when I talk to not just Republican voters, but independents and a lot of Democrats, is the state of education, right? We have declining test scores. We have teacher strikes. We have politics in the classroom. We have a lot of things that are just absent in other areas of the country. Again, one of those things, the value proposition of to get people to come here and stay here. And if you're a young family and you just want your kid to learn math, writing, and science and all that stuff, you have to sort of now worry in the back of your head about all the things that they're going to be being, call it indoctrination, but also that the genuine test scores, like the math and reading scores, like they're dropping. I mean,
look, the big promise of the millionaires tax is it was going to make the schools better. Have the schools gotten better over the last 5 years? The answer is no.
Yeah.
I mean, despite enormous spending. Yeah. I mean, we've never had so much money come into state government. Test scores across the board are down. And here's the deal. When I am governor, day one, I will replace all 10 of the gubernatorial appointments on the DESE board. DESE is the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, 11 members, 10 appointed by the governor. Replace every single one of them, and we'll bring people in that focus on the basics, on curriculum transparency. Parents should understand exactly what their kids are being taught. We should take politics out of the classrooms. And most importantly, we got to get back to basics on math and science, because Massachusetts used to be number 1 in education. And now we're like tied for first with 5 other states that are coming up very quickly.
There's all these articles about the Southern Miracle, right? That they're talking about how down in Mississippi they're going back to phonics. And look, your boys are older, right? So they're looking at colleges at this point. But my daughter, she's in 8th grade, and I'm just coming out of the elementary school phase. So it's like, there's still that core curriculum that you're wondering, well, it doesn't really match what I was taught. And, I'm putting politics aside though. I think parents really want to be reassured when they're seeing the test scores drop and they're seeing that it's sort of not lining up with what their expectations of or the education they received, that they want somebody that's going to go in there and tackle it and get back to those things. So,
when it comes
the DESE board.
When it comes to schools, parents know best. Correct. I mean, look at my boys. They've gone to Catholic school. They've gone to public school. They've gone to independent. We've done it all. And every kid's a little bit different. But parents know what's best. So I'm a strong supporter of choice. The more choices we can give parents. The other thing I would do day one is there's a new federal program called the Educational Choice Act, the ECCA. And that is a federal voucher program that if your state opts into it, in this state, thousands and thousands of families could get vouchers to use with independent schools or private schools or Catholic schools. However, in order to participate in that ECCA program, guess what? Your governor has to opt in.
Okay.
And we have a governor who will not opt in. So when I'm governor, we'll opt in. Give parents the choice.
This is really important for the audience to understand. And this is why voting matters and elections count. So if you live in an area where the education is subpar, it's not what you want, you're paying high taxes, maybe it's in the city of Boston. And I remember Governor Baker doing this, or trying to do this, to expand the number of charter schools to get in there, to just sort of go around this calcified infrastructure of.
And you know why Governor Baker pushed that? Because there are 10,000 families on a waiting list to get into those schools. That's the demand signal.
Yeah.
Parents and families are voting with their feet. The other place there's tremendous demand are the vocational tech schools. Thousands of kids want to get into those schools. So
those schools are more competitive than ever now.
More competitive, but here's the deal. We need more of them. That's where we should be investing. That's where we should be growing, because parents and students know that they want it. So when it comes to me, more choice is always better. And any federal program that would give families in this state thousands of dollars to use at independent schools for their kids, of course I'd support it. Yeah. Why wouldn't we? It's free federal money. However, you need a governor that'll support it, and we have a governor that won't touch it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we've covered costs. We've covered education. We've covered energy. I'll leave it to you as we wrap up in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Anything else you want to touch on?
Well, look,
I'm getting
a great response out there. You know, any one of the three of us, the two Mikes, both of whom I know, they're good guys. Any one of the three of us would be far better than Maura Healey. But I am a proven government reformer. I'm a proud Marine. I'm a businessman. I'm the only one in this race that has spent my life building and scaling small companies. I founded my own company here in Massachusetts. Small business is the backbone of the Massachusetts economy. Half the people that work in Massachusetts work for small businesses. I'm the only candidate in this race who has ever stepped in to the toughest of tough challenges, which was the MBTA and driven reform, driven accountability. A lot of people in this race talk about the audits. I've done it. When I was at the T, we audited overtime. We audited the money room. We audited the cell phone bill, for God's sakes. And we found that a third of the phones being paid for hadn't been used in 2 years. That was the first $1 million we saved. I've done those things. By the way, when I was at the T, the Boston Herald and the Boston Globe editorial pages that don't agree on many things, they agreed on this, that under my leadership of that Fiscal Management Control Board, as the Globe said, best thing that ever happened to the T. The Herald said we turned a bloated, underperforming agency into one focused on people, riders, and results. We need to do that across all state government. We need a governor who's a proven reformer, who's a fighter, that'll go in there and do the audits. Every department, every part of state government, we will find tremendous, tremendous opportunity to operate better. So look, it's going to take a fighter to win this race. It's going to take someone that understands how to build companies. It's going to take someone that's demonstrated the ability to take on the toughest challenges and the toughest agencies, and I'm ready to go. I also think it'll probably take a Marine to clean up the mess on Beacon Hill, because there's a lot of work to do, Jeff.
The website is brianshortsleeve.com. He is running for governor. I'm going to put in my little plug right now. Scan the QR code on the screen, support this program and the Mass GOP. Donate at the link. We could always use the support. Go to brianshortsleeve.com if you want to sign up and help Brian out, whether it's with a donation, whether it's with volunteer work.
You can hit us on Facebook as well at Brian Shortsleeve from Massachusetts.
Follow him on all the socials, and I've been, just so you know, there's going to be a graphic on the screen for your website throughout the show. Brian, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Good luck in the race, and we will have you back on again for sure before the primary, and maybe even a couple times.
Let's go win this thing, Jeff. I am fired up and ready to go. It's going to be a great year.
Excellent.
See ya.
All right. Thanks, everybody.